spite of his pain, David had power. In spite of his continuing struggles, David claimed victory. For all of these reasons, David is a great example of how to deal with struggle, how to deal with pain, and how to deal with drama. David's life is available for you to read. This is like one of the best novels ever, and is annaled in the books of Kings, Samuels, and Chronicles. As Mackenzie explained to us, Saul's son Jonathan was his homie. But the span of their relationship appears relatively brief in comparison to his 40-year reign in Israel. The Old Testament does not illuminate a confidant or a bosom buddy that cheered David up when he was down, or encouraged him to keep on keeping on, or told him never to throw in the towel. But the Old Testament does record the Psalms, some of which were written by David. We have a record of David's self-encouragement. David says, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?" David said that the Lord was the strength of his life, and he proclaimed that he would not be afraid. I see you guys not getting excited like I thought you would. It's okay. I got to back up. So what I'm going to do, instead of preaching about Israel, I'm going to bring it a little closer to home. Is that okay today? All right. Straight ATLian, okay? A while back, you were going about life as usual. No one is perfect, but you were making good decisions, living unselfishly, and doing your best to help those around you. And then one day, everything hit the fan. You didn't ask for no problems. Matter of fact, you prefer the simple life. When the first sign of struggle appeared, it alarmed you, threw you off balance a little bit, but just for a moment, because you quickly committed yourself to making it through. You didn't know what to expect, although you did know it wouldn't be easy. What has it been now? 2 months, 10 months, 2 years? You did everything that you were supposed to, and never imagined that it would be one thing after the next. You knew it would be rough, but what in the world is this? And once you began to make sense of the first obstacle, something else started to unravel. Loved ones that were healthy all of a sudden became sick. A relationship that was secure became unstable. Your child that was on the right track took a side street. Somebody know the load at work became overwhelming, or your finances started to deplete, or maybe somebody got sick in their body. As the trials continued to mount, you began to have less time and energy and desire to socialize. Your friends understood at first. They even came over and brought you food, and some of y'all, they brought fermented drinks. But some of y'all, we going through Jesus. I'm just saying. They did wonderful things. They brought you a card that had a couple of dollars in it. They consoled you and made you laugh. They were able to reassure you that everything would be okay, and you believed them. But that was months ago, and nobody thought that your battle would continue for so long. Thank God for them, but the friends that used to pray for you, they don't call anymore. Somehow or another, they still got your back, but they don't have the words. They care for you, but they don't know what else it is that they can do. Your friends and your family, they've kind of given up. They support you, and for whatever reason, God has yet to answer your prayers. Young people, we discussed how sometimes the room can be full of people, but you feel all alone. We talked this month about how friends and family, as much as they love you and support you, sometimes they just don't have the word or the magic wand to solve all of your problems. We talked about how 8-year-olds and 18-year-olds and 44-year-olds and 88-year-olds all experience challenges and anxiety, and we all have struggles. The youngest children discussed what it meant to cheer for yourself. The middle schoolers and the high schoolers wrote letters to their future selves, motivating and encouraging them. Jonathan, Deasia, MJ, some of you out there, I'm not going to call your age. I'm talking to everybody. Amen. There will be times when you will have to encourage yourself. Amen. Continue to praise God in the midst of your mess. And as you bless God, make sure you bless yourself. Thank God for helping you to make it this far. And don't forget to give yourself some credit too. When you're tired and drained, both physically and mentally, and your spirit is warm, but you can't seem to catch a break from catching hell, just look around and count your blessings. I want you to count all of them, yet even the small blessings that you think are insignificant, because they serve as proof that you are making it in spite of everything that you are struggling through. It's okay if you're jacked up, because guess what? Some people gave up a long time ago. It's okay to only be holding on by a thread, because guess what? At least you're still here. You almost had a nervous breakdown, but almost ain't never been good enough. And perhaps you fell off for a minute, but guess what? You're right back up again. Amen? Young people, I want you to hear me, and I want you to hear me very clearly. The people in the Bible were regular. They were so regular that if they were alive today, they would have names like Keisha and Tyrone. The only thing that made them special was that they believed God had made them special. They believed that God had given them something that distinguished them from everyone else. They believed that whatever it was that they needed, whatever it was that they had to do, that God would allow them to make it so. And so young people, every day you wake up, every day you step out into the world, you have the right, and you are faced with a decision to decide whether or not you are special. And you can claim that every day of your life, and if you believe it, it will be so. I am not suggesting that you be idealistic or naive about the current state of your predicament. I dare not propose that by reciting a couple of words or singing a song that your situation will miraculously disappear. I am, however, suggesting that you follow the example of David and tell yourself that you have already defeated a lion, and that you already defeated the bear, and that no matter how big or bad the giant that you are currently facing is, somehow, some way, you will make it through. Tell yourself that you are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. Your ancestors who made a way out of no way and something out of nothing and against all odds persevered have paved the way for you. Ancestors who had to take the stony road and endured the chastening rod. It is their blood that runs through your veins, and while they are not physically present, their spirits give you power to endure. Can I tell you, for me, the realest part of this song? The writer confesses, I would have lost hope unless I believed I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. In the land of the living, not heaven, not in the afterlife, not next lifetime, but despite all he was going through, in the midst of mess and drama, though the enemy surround him on every side, with nobody in his back, with nobody in his front, he proclaimed and he delivered that he would see the goodness of the Lord, not next lifetime, Erica Badu, but he would see it right now, today, in the presence of the Lord. The beauty and the bounty of God on this plane, and he professed it to himself. We have to learn to speak a word over our own lives. Self-affirmation is the theory of how people reduce the impact of a threat by focusing on and affirming their competence. Affirmations are healing, positive self-scripts you give yourself to counter negative energy. Self-affirmations allow you to take a healthy, self-oriented route in your life so that you can let go of the issues that drain your resources and keep you from experiencing the fullness of personal health. Self-affirmations help you to visualize a new order and make sense of your life. And finally, self-affirmations are success prophecies that, when believed in, move you from being stuck in what you see to freed by what is to be. I'm going to say it one more time. Self-affirmations are success prophecies that, when believed in, move you from being stuck in what you see to being freed by what you want to be. Amen. Some of y'all can pick up a crystal ball and tell everybody in here their future, but your situation has gotten so deep and so thick and heavy, you can't even sing "Victory Is Mine." We have to learn to speak positively on our own behalf. Can I get 5 people who about that life? Can I get 5 people who about that life? People who are about believing in yourself, people who are about overcoming, people who are about growing up, hashtag 2 weeks ago, people who believe whatever comes against them will stumble and fall. People who believe whatever comes against them will stumble and fall. People who believe whatever comes against them will stumble and fall. If you're about that life, when you get home today, I need you to do me one thing. That's what they say in the word. Take your deodorant, your lipstick, or a dry erase marker. Not a permanent marker, young people. Don't get me in trouble. It has to be a dry erase marker. And I need you to write affirmations on your mirror. When you go home, get your deodorant or your lipstick or a dry erase marker, and I want you to write all over your mirror. I need you to write things like, I am competent. I need you to write things like, I am strong enough. I am beautiful. I am handsome. I am intelligent. I am more than enough. I will ace this test. I will get into the school of my choice. I am a great athlete. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. My marriage will flourish. My husband will survive. My wife will recover. I am what God has called me to be. I will control my temper. I need you to save some space so you can see your beautiful reflection, but then I want you to write some more. I want you to write things like, God made me. I want you to write things like, I sleep easy at night. I forgive myself. I am courageous. I am successful. I am black girl magic. I am black boy joy. I have more than enough money. Money come easy. I will get a better job. I will beat cancer. I will overcome this illness. I will beat this trial. I will make it through. I am confident. I am victorious. I am beautiful. I need you to speak over your life. How do you endure? You speak positive and you believe. Verbally acknowledge that you are better than your situation and that God has the power to bring you through. Learn how to be your own cheerleader. Learn how to coach your own game. Sometimes you have to encourage yourself in the Lord. Sometimes when you've reached your wit's end, we just have to say, oh, but for the grace of God, I would have thrown in the towel and called it quits. Please believe that God is a sustainer and God has sustained you. But God requires us to find our own agency in life. God requires us to do that which God has already put inside of us. God requires us to climb mountains and believe that we can make it to the top. You have to identify what you need to continue the struggle, and you have to ensure that your supply is replenished. That's why you have to speak over yourself. You have to make sure that you have the energy to keep on, keeping on when it's dark and when it's heavy and when the sun is beating on your back and the sweat is falling down your brow and it feels like you can't take another step. He was done in, discouraged, downhearted, and defeat appeared to be on the horizon. David was tired and really didn't want to continue the battle. Suddenly, the situation had gotten bigger than him. God had called him to be a leader. There were others that depended on him. And that's when he did the only thing that he could do. He began to reflect on the God who allowed him to overtake the lion and the bear. He reflected on where he drew strength to overtake the Philistine giant and how he had escaped the treacherous hands of Saul. He went back into his mental Rolodex and he reminisced about how God had elevated him from the least of these to the king of these. And in his exhaustion, he murmured, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?" And as he talked, David's back began to straighten up just a little bit. So he continued, "The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid?" And with every word, they grew louder and he became stronger and his voice settled in and the doubt began to disappear. And then he said, when the wicked enemies came against me, they stumbled and failed. And though an army may encamp around me, I will not fear. Yet will I be confident. And so today I leave you with, when the struggle continues, speak over yourself. Encourage yourself in the Lord. Amen.